Hey, Thomas from Field Tennis. There's always this quest for more power in tennis. Players are looking for more power on the forehand or on the backhand, but sometimes they forget that more power is more risk. So with how much power should you play? So power is very tricky to measure, and so is the speed of the ball, but what we can measure these days with smartphones and a lot of free apps is the time that the ball takes to reach the other side. So I got an idea for this video from a player who sent me his forehand for evaluation, and I noticed that his forehand was very fast. And in today's video I want to show you first at what speed should you play. So I will show you the clips of my own play when I rally. Then I will show you a few points when I play a point, so at what speed do I play. So again, I can't show you speed, but I will show you the time of the ball flight. And I will show you a few points of the professionals so that you will have a better idea at what speed you should be playing tennis depending on your skill level. So here's the original footage from Carl. As you can see, it's a very nice forehand. So if I play it like this in frame by frame, you can see that everything is fine. Contact point is really good, well in front. Balance is very good, so no problems with the swing. So the forehand works from technical standpoint really well. But Carl said that it was inconsistent. So I was looking at forehand more, and when I saw this ball, so if I play it, let's say if I play this one at normal speed, I realized that yes, the forehand is hit really effortlessly, but this ball is really fast. So if I play a few more balls, just to my naked eye, this ball seemed, wow, that's really fast. So then I look at this first ball and I said, okay, let me see with the timer. One more back. So this first ball, how fast is this ball? So I put a timer here to see. And so the bounce is already now 70, so I would say the ball is crossing the baseline around here. So if Carl's friend or opponent is behind the baseline, let's say a meter, I would say that now they're hitting the ball at around 95. So that's really fast, as you will see. So if we go for another down the line here, and I put the timer, and I kind of eyeball the ball, I would say that around now the opponent should be hitting the ball, because this one is very deep, close, almost on the baseline. So somewhere here, if opponent is about a meter behind the baseline, they're hitting the ball now, and Carl is also half a meter or something like that behind the baseline, so normal position. So the ball is flying 1 second only to opponent. So remember these numbers because we are going to come back to them. So then I decided to put Carl's forehand next to mine. So I have some footage here when I'm rallying. So I'm not playing a match, I'm just rallying with my normal speed with my buddy Urban, and I took one forehand, like a nice forehand that we can see clearly. So if we put the timer now and we see how long the ball is flying, you can see that somewhere around this time, so if you're looking at Carl's ball first, so now is the bounce, so I would say about now the ball is well over the baseline, so that's about 94. And if you see when is my buddy Urban hitting the ball, that's around 145 or something. So that's half a second later. So there's a big difference between Carl's rally ball in practice situation and my rally ball when I'm just hitting the ball for fun, for enjoying tennis. So what's my rally speed? So I took some footage from me and my buddy Urban rallying. So you can kind of measure it in two ways. One is just my stroke. So I go from my contact to Urban's contact. So this one is 144. And then I clear and I go again. So let's say this one from contact to contact. Let's say contact is about now, so 143, about the same. So I go like this, I went stroke by stroke. So as I've already done that in advance, so I can give you the final number. So here's Urban's contact, so you can see 140. So you can see that the numbers are pretty consistent. So here's another contact. Let's see this one, Urban contact. So 141. So first of all, that's a sign of good rhythm. So when you measure yourself, if you have really close, within a tenth of a second, the speeds, that means you have a good rhythm, good ball control. So as you can see, sometimes I couldn't see the contact. So instead of just measuring the speed of my shot, you can measure the speed of a rally, right? So I go from stroke to stroke, so we can kind of get about the average speed of both players. And me and Urban, when we rally like this, we roughly play with the same speed. So you can see that here is 313 the speed, and then we can go for another rally. So this one I missed. So for example, we go from rally to rally. So this one to this one, you can see 316. So we can go again from this one to this one, 292, and so on, right? So 303. So as you can see, it's very similar. So when I measured my own speed, the number that I got to on average was 148. And when I measured all the rallies between me and Urban, so when I just kept it going and I measured everything, the average time of each player, so of each player, was 151, or both players together was 302. So roughly 3 seconds between one hit and another hit of the same player. So then I measured what is my speed in a match. So I don't have any recording of me serving and playing a match, but I do have some footage me playing a practice match with a friend. So we start just with the hand feed, we play 1 or 2 balls down the middle, and then the point starts. So then we can play anything we want, we can come to the net and so on. So this is just an example. As you see, we play a point, but we just start with the hand feed. So again, in the same way, I was measuring the speed of the ball. So now I'm already playing a point. So I measure what is the speed of my shot. So you can see about 158, something like that. So here's, let's say somewhere here is the contact. So these are match play balls. Here's the contact, around 150. So remember, my average speed in rallying was 150. So just keep that in mind. So somewhere here I would say is the contact. How long does it take? This one was quite a fast slice, and yet 156. So, and here's another point. So first ball roughly down the middle, and then the point can start. So here's the contact of this ball. So this is my match situation forehand. I'm playing a match. I did play right into my friend's hitting zone to see what he will do. So this one is 140. So my match play forehand was 140. So this one is played in a serious situation, so I'm accelerating a bit more, but as you can see, so again about 140. So this one, match situation forehand, how long does it take? Again 140. So as you can see, my forehands in a match are around at 140, and my forehands in a rally situation, friendly rally situation with my friend, are around 150. And similar goes with the backhands. I will show you a comparison now between my forehand in a rally and match situation and my backhand in a rally and match situation. So here's an example of a forehand. So on the left side is a rally forehand, on the right side is a match forehand. So I tried to find very similar ones. So these two forehands are quite similar, from roughly the same distance, roughly in the same direction. And what you see is that in a match situation, I swing faster because you can see where my racket is already in the follow through. So this one is still here, and in a match it's moving faster, but the ball is roughly the same speed, and that's how you can tell that it has more topspin. So simply through my movement, we can see that it's a faster movement. So I'm accelerating more, but I'm putting more spin into the ball to give it more safety, a bit more height and trajectory, but the actual speed of the ball is about the same. Here's an example on the backhand where the follow through will not be so obvious. So here's a similar backhand. So on the left side is a rally backhand, on the right side is a match backhand. So you can see I've synchronized them so they're hit at the same time. But if I put the timer here, so here you see by the follow through it's a little bit faster. This one maybe just a little bit faster, but not so obvious. But what we can watch is that when does the opponent make contact. So if you watch at them on the match side, and the opponents are roughly about a meter behind the baseline, so it's about the same. So now in a match, the opponent makes contact at around 138, and in a rally situation at around 148. So there's a tenth of a second difference. So that's how you can tell it's a bit faster backhand in a match, but really not significantly. So now the question is, at what speed do the pros play? So here's a practice match between Ferrer and Andy Murray. So this is from essentialtennis.com. So thanks, Ian, for letting me use this footage. So I'll just let it play this a little bit, that you can see that they play at their normal speed because they're not just rallying. This is a practice match, so they play at normal speed. And again, we can measure in the same way at what speed do they play. So I waited for the return to pass, and then I was trying to measure what is the speed or time, because I can't measure speed, but I can measure time. So what is the time that the ball takes to go from contact to contact? So you can see here's David Ferrer's contact. So how fast is this ball? So this one is about 116. And then we can do the same for Andy Murray's backhand. So how long does this one take to David Ferrer? So here's the contact, 130. So here we can take another one. How fast was this backhand? Again, 130. So this one is a slice, so it's going to be a bit slower. So this one is 141. And this one was a bit more defensive forehand. So this one took about 140. So let's see, Andy Murray's backhand, only 115, you see, very quick. Here's David Ferrer's backhand, quite flat, low, fast, 126. So I measured on average the speed of their shots in these 2 points that I have. So I took these 2 points that are a bit longer with longer rallies. So this one is then a mistake. So there are 2 points here that are a bit longer. And the average time was 1.3. So between both of them, so 1.3. So now if you remember Carl, his shot was 0.9 and about 1 second, right? So on average, he's playing way faster than the professionals. And the fastest ball that I found here, so I don't know if I will find it very quickly, was Andy Murray's forehand. I think, yeah, this one. So if we measure this forehand, so it's quite fast. So this forehand, you see it's coming really fast. So that one is about 1.08, right? So that's the fastest ball in these 2 points in the whole rallies. So Carl is playing faster in practice than the fastest ball that Andy Murray played in a match situation. So you have to be really careful about this because, you know, if you have good technique and you know how to effortlessly produce power, yes, you can produce power, but it's very, very risky. So you cannot blame your forehand for missing the shot. You're actually playing with very high risk. So what do I mean by risk? If you play the ball this fast, so that's the ball that took less than a second to reach the other side, then you have to play it very low above the net, because the faster you play, the smaller the window above the net. If you play with this speed this high, the ball will go long. So of course you just have to think about it. Of course it's logical, the faster you play, the lower you must play. And this small green window is very difficult to hit. It doesn't matter so much about your forehand technique, how is your backswing, how is your follow through, and so on. It's just difficult. Regardless of your forehand technique, you must be extremely precise with the racket head angle at contact. And so you're moving the racket now fast, you're accelerating, and you must get the racket angle really right, and that is of course very difficult. So it doesn't mean your forehand sucks, it means that it's very difficult. If you were to play slower, then maybe your window is about this big. And of course it's much easier to hit this window. So you have to play, you have a nicer trajectory. So slower speed, you have more height. So what is important to take away from this lesson is that it's not always your forehand, right, that is to blame, but simply playing this fast is risky, in the same way as driving a car is very risky when you're going very fast. You can't blame the car. It's just you're trying to break the laws of physics, and you can't break the laws of physics. And so you have to keep that in mind, that very fast playing tennis is very risky, and it takes massive amount of practice to increase the speed of your strokes and still have some consistency. So what are some key takeaways from this lesson? First one is that hitting a nice ball coming from the ball machine all the time with the same speed, height and spin is very different from playing a tennis match. In a tennis match there's a lot of movement, and you will be receiving very different balls that required many different adjustments of the fundamental technique. So if you combine that with additional decision-making process, then hitting the ball consistently is much more difficult. And so we have to play at lower speeds in order to have a bigger window to hit into. So the ball machine can deceive you into believing that you can play faster than it's actually possible in a real match. The second one is that you should be practicing at the same speeds as you will play matches. As you saw in my clips, my average ball flight time in a free hitting session was 1.5 seconds, and it was very similar in a match situation. If I did accelerate the ball, it was only slightly, because then the average flight time was only 1.4 seconds, and that's only around 7% faster than the usual rally speed. So here's a quick summary. Number 1, practice at the same speeds as you play matches. If you do accelerate in matches, then realize that you can accelerate just by a little bit, and of course you can add a bit more topspin. Second, in a match, respect your own speed limit. One of the most common causes of car accidents is speeding, and that's also the most common cause for missing tennis shots. And 3, if you're not at my skill level, then your ball flight time should be more than 1.5 seconds. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.